Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of Phaser Friday. My name is Luke Eggebraaten, and I'm the host of this podcast. Before I dive into introducing our guest, I got to thank our episode 12 sponsors. You've heard me talk about them before, but our episode 12 sponsors is Turf Wars Racing. Turf Wars Racing is a grass drag racing event located near Cormorant, Minnesota. It is a head-to-head style racing between side-by-sides, quads, dirt bikes, lawnmowers, kind of whatever you have. You can probably race it at Turf Wars. They have their summer event, which is usually the first Saturday of June. And they also just finished up their first ever winter Turf Wars, and that was on December 18th. They had tons of snowmobiles, side-by-sides, a little bit of everything out there as well. So thanks again, Turf Wars, for continuing to be such a big sponsor of Phaser Friday. And with that, I can't wait to dive into this interview. I've got a big guest out of Maryland, a good friend of mine. We've been doing business together for a little while. Owner, operator, CEO, the man that does it all, Devin Burs. All right. Like I said, so excited to have our guest, Devin Burs, on the line right now. Devin, how's it going, man?
It's going good. And yourself?
Dude, doing great. Been waiting for this for a long time to have you on the show. So I definitely appreciate you jumping on here.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. It took a little bit to,
Yeah.
to happen, I guess.
We had to wait till we built up our audience a little bit just to make sure that they could all see you. So
yeah, I hear you.
So we're going to jump right into it. If you don't mind introducing yourself, where you're from, what you do for a living, and we can go from there.
Yeah, my name is Devin Burs. I'm from Maryland. Run an excavation, grading, concrete, and I guess you could say landscape construction company. Yeah, I'm 28. That's about it.
Which city in Maryland again?
Oh yeah, just outside of Baltimore. So our office is in Catonsville, but our shop is in Woodstock. But like we do work all across Maryland. So Maryland, DA, yeah,
for sure. What year did you start your business?
Legally, I think it's 18. I started legally. Was the start of the business name, but I guess you could say I've been, because first it was landscape construction and maintenance. So what I did there was in high school. So junior year, sophomore year of high school is when I basically started that. So if you want to truly say something, it'll be from then.
Yeah. So you've been doing it a long time. Like we mentioned, Dirt Devil Enterprises. How'd you come up with the name? And it has changed, since then a little bit too, but
yeah, well, it was originally Dirt Devil Landscaping. You're helping with the whole rebranding. So I appreciate that. Yep. But yeah, now it's Dirt Devil Enterprises. It's been a vision since the beginning, just a process as far as getting here. But as far as Dirt Devil, it more so came from a childhood nickname, which is Dirt Devil, and that's more so because of baseball. Quick on the bases, was a good base runner, pinch runner as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm from.
Definitely. I've just been so excited to have this interview with you and like really just dive in. It's more so of a conversation. You and I have had many of these conversations, but I just think it's so interesting to dive into a little bit more of your life and your business, because I know a lot of our listeners are in the dirt world, whether they're blue collar workers, they may own their own excavation company, different things like that. So I do have another question for you. What's your favorite thing about working in the dirt world?
More so, I guess you could say just kind of getting your hands down into it and actually being able to see the results of the fruits of your labor. I think that's kind of like anything in like the construction industry. I won't just, lay it straight down the dirt world. I'll kind of just say in construction, because I mean, it's kind of, the same way when you get on a site, you see a plumber, electrician, we're all kind of looking at each other's different skill sets in a, a kind of a way and everything like that. And I think we all kind of equally get a appreciation of
Right.
not just getting a project done for someone, but getting it done on a physical level, and then having that physical view at the same time to actually be able to appreciate it and be like, I did that. And it's always
Right.
nice to come back and be like, oh, that house right there, we helped build that. You know what I mean?
Dude, I have the same thoughts when I see like brands or branding. I'm like, yeah, we helped with that. It's just, I feel like it's the same thing, except obviously we're behind a computer screen and we're more digital, where you get
Yeah.
to work with your hands and really get out there. And I think there's a lot of satisfaction in that, seeing something how it is and then seeing the finished product and knowing that like you had a big hand in that.
Yeah.
What was like the first piece of equipment you bought that really made it real of like, okay, we're jumping into this thing now?
My skid. I think that was the first. Yeah, it's a skid steer. Mine, a skid
Yeah.
steer, or I guess you know what, dude. Let's go back. Let's say the truck, not even equipment.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll sit there and say the truck, because like I've always been in trucks. Excuse me. I've always been into trucks. Had lifted trucks, but they were always F-150s.
Hmm.
And that's actually what kind of like broke it for me, is my last F-150, fully souped up, lifted, all this, rims, tires, all that. Yeah, selling that, I still miss it. Selling it
Yeah. Yeah. I
to,
bet, dude.
to
Um,
kind of like really dive in and take that leap, man. Yeah, that was kind of like a big step for me. But going in equipment, like you said, definitely skid steer was the first thing. That was definitely like, I've worked hard for this.
yeah.
It had an emotional impact for me, and more than
Yeah.
especially dealing with what I had to deal with in order to kind of like to get things like started and off the ground. You know what I mean? So
Right. Definitely. No, and I have the pleasure of working with business owners and excavation companies and construction companies and all these owners where, it's different than the business I'm in, where the startup cost for me is actually very, very low. Like to get into this business, all you need is Wi-Fi really. And you need to know what to do and how to treat people. You
and a
need to be good at,
computer.
yeah, and a computer too. You need to be good at your job. But what I mean is like, there's a financial wall there a lot of times for contractors, or if you want to start this business. So do you, like, say somebody's just getting started out, do you recommend they work under somebody or rent equipment? Or how do you, I mean, it just seems like such a big purchase, even to buy a skid. Like, how do you recommend getting started in something like that?
Uh, all of those answers, dude.
Yeah.
All of those answers you just gave, man. Because all of them are individual challenges, in and of itself, but at the same time, uh, they're all different business models too, that you can implement and still run with, later on as well. Renting equipment, I mean, I still do that. But a lot of people don't know, man. I did that for about a year and a half with
Yeah.
excavators and skids and larger excavators and everything like that before actually making a purchase my own. And yeah, I mean, it was super costly, but you got everyone takes their leap at their own pace, um, so that's kind of like what it was for me, is taking my leap at my own pace, and also, gathering that knowledge. Working up under someone is definitely, key. Right now I still have mentors, and I still
Yeah.
work under certain like individuals or companies and everything like that, in order to, one, either build up my reputation or to build up my expertise, or network in and of
Yep.
itself. So like I said, all of it, I mean, all of it has a place in building a construction business. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, all of it has a place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny because, you and I have been, connected, or at least have followed each other for a long time now. And our agency, we used to just kind of take any small businesses, we'd do their digital marketing. And now obviously as recently, we've niche down into this, the dirt world. And, so we only take on clients in the dirt world. And it's funny because I never grew up that way. I never even had a construction job. I've never driven a skid steer or operated anything like that. And so it's funny now to see like what gets me going and what my Instagram feed looks like and everything like that. It's just the things that get me excited now with business is like all revolving around this dirt world. And I think I just have such an appreciation for the people in the industry. And I honestly think that's one of the biggest things. And, Luke Payne and I got started together in 2020. We started working together, and he owns Black Iron Dirt and Demolition. And he's really taught me a whole lot, and vice versa. We kind of feed off of each other, but I'm just like, dude, I need to get in one of these things and like destroy a playground or something, like a play set or like a tree or something. Cause this, maybe I'm in the wrong industry because this stuff looks awesome.
Dude, it's nice to have on the side, man, which is kind of like even crazy too. Because I've thought about this, even if like I ever had this business go part-time again or sold it or whatever, like what equipment I keep, like it's like absolutely necessary that for me not to get rid of or anything. I apologize, I'm screaming with Dart there. And everything like that, just because it's been so like crucial, to like my life, you know what I mean? Like, dude, like, I mean, we talked getting a little personal and everything. I had a tree fall on my house this week and everything. If I didn't have the tools, or let alone, the connection, I wouldn't have been able to get it done as smoothly, as cleanly, and, definitely not as a cost effective, you know what I mean?
Right. No, 100%.
So, yeah. It's definitely has changed my life in a different kind of direction. I mean, even thinking about kids, dude, and that's a whole nother
podcast. I'll bring you on that one. So I am going to change gears here a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit more, about the story you had basically that put you in a wheelchair and that whole journey, how you got, cause that was while you're in your business and like starting that up, wasn't it? And if you don't mind just kind of walking through that and how things changed.
Yeah, man. Dude, that's a little, it's so weird. Because honestly, like, I have to like put myself mentally into, like whenever I like talk about it and everything like that, because like it's been a while to like get here, dude. Like a lot of people don't realize just how difficult, I guess you could say, it's been to get here. But yeah, so I guess like I said, it started at 17, 18, officially and everything like that. And that was in February, I believe, the month of February. I had my accident in April, of April 13th, of one of the two of those years. I'm sorry. I still have like some memory loss and stuff, but, so I ended up getting into basically a motorcycle accident. I was coming home one night from after taking my friend, my close girlfriend and everything, not girlfriend, close girlfriend, out to dinner and everything like that, for her birthday. We grabbed a drink, bite to eat, really just catching up. I walked her over to the bar that was close by, that a lot of us and kind of like our group of friends were really going to back then. I went to get on my bike, did all my normal check. I was completely sober. Have to go over that as well. Man, I took off, went down the road. It was basically getting on the interstate to get on the highway and everything. And man, it kind of like happened in a flash. I ended up getting sideswiped, around about 50 miles an hour, whichever. That sent me into the guardrail, head on. That ejected me once I hit the guardrail, about 70, 75 feet into the woods. my bike continued another 250 feet down the road. And yeah, man, the only reason why I'm here is because there was a bike rider and another car behind, and this was at night too, dude.
Right.
So not the best lighting, lighting here and there as there usually are on the interstate and everything like that. And literally where I got ejected was right in between these two light posts and everything. So basically, you didn't have a good view. Like once it went out, basically the bike rider told me a little when I met him later on. It was months, dude. It was months when I met that guy too. Crazy how the world works. But that I basically just disappeared into nothingness. And the only reason why he actually came back to that spot because he followed my bike, looking at my tail lights, and he saw that the bike had swerved at one point. So he went back to where he had thought it swerved and saw where the impact was, into the guardrail and everything like that, and ran down and was calling out my name. The only thing I really remember at that time was, well, not calling out my name, but calling, guy, where are you at? All this other stuff. Hearing someone call for me and kind of like getting like a blurry image through like blood and everything. And I blacked out, and that was it. And I woke up days later. So, yeah, man, it was an experience that in and of itself. And, the recovery and everything was a totally different experience in and of itself. You have the accident, which is one part, and then you have the recovery. That's a totally different part. And it's not just the physical as well, it's the mental and the emotional, dude. Like, who actually like shows up to the hospital, it, the emotion and expression on other people's faces, and seeing my parents in the position that I kind of like put them in and everything like that. It was definitely different for me. Yeah, and I'm sorry, dude. Like every time I talk about it, it's kind of like a mental thing, because it's kind of like I am just envisioning things all over again.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, don't be sorry about it either. And, it's something that I know you always have with you, and something that, you do talk about, and something that you do sometimes, like look where you've come from this, and like, look how you bounced back. And, I think your Instagram is like started in a wheelchair or something like that. So
yeah, started in a wheelchair, standing 10 feet tall now.
yeah, there you go. And so I think that's very important. That, like, as bad as this was, and as bad as it still is, not saying that this is gone or anything, but
yeah,
continuing to battle back and continuing to stand 10 feet tall, and being, doing your best, trying to surround yourself with the right people, and trying to do the best for yourself, your family, and your loved ones around you. So I definitely appreciate you, kind of going into that story a little bit.
yeah.
And it's just such a big part of your life. I don't know how, you could even think about running a business after that, or think about really anything. It's just such a difficult thing to go through. So after all that, I'm glad you're still here, because you and I wouldn't have met, and we wouldn't be doing business together, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So there's obviously a lot more good that comes from you being here. So definitely appreciate you sharing all that. Gonna change gears again. That's what I like to do, is in this conversation. So, we've gotten to know each other now over probably the last 8 months or a year or something like that. You and I have a different connection because we talk a lot like business owners, because we both own our own businesses, even though we work together as, client to agency or whatever you want to call it. But we talk a lot about delegating tasks out as a business owner. So if you don't mind, for people listening, talk about maybe the importance of, when you are growing, to delegate tasks out, and what that means to you, I guess.
Yeah, man. That's kind of what. So first of all, still a part of like the story and everything, because I think that's kind of like an important part that will also answer this question as well. Um, so I was basically in like a kind of I guess you could say like an 8 to 10 month like recovery period and everything.
Wow.
From the time I had my accident, April 13th, to my first day back working, which was late August, I believe it was. Wait, late August or no, it was October. It was like October. It was like late October. Is when like my first time back, like coming down in the wintertime and everything. Um, yeah, it was it was difficult in and of itself. I had basically so the business, like I said, I basically started the business right before my accident, and that's really the only thing that kept me sane during my recovery and
Right.
everything. Um, I didn't watch TV, I didn't watch any videos or anything. I just spent, I think I was 2.5 weeks in the hospital, like in extensive care, and then I was in another 3 weeks in recovery. As far as like walking again and getting movements and everything like that. Another thing, a lot of people don't know everything, but I broke my leg, my foot, broke a couple ribs, broke all my fingers on my left hand. Actually had tore off my thumb, had to have that surgically placed back on, road rash from, my top half of my back all the way down to my leg on my left side. So that kind of like will paint a picture for you. Like literally I could not walk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I had stents in my hand, stents in my finger. Stents in my hand, stents in my foot. Cast, everything like that. So take that image. I basically was writing in my notebook I had 13 pages of notes by the time I got out. And as soon as I got out and I got home to my parents' house and everything, because they helped care for me, and that's really what helped speed up my recovery.
Right.
I went right to work at home. I remember my dad asking me, I'm sitting down at the dining room table wincing, and I think at one point I started like throwing up just because I was sitting up for so long. And he's like, man, lay down, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I'm building my website. That's what I was doing at the time, dude. I was building my
Oh,
website,
man.
figure it out, man. And I was like, no, I gotta get everything. I gotta get everything in place. That way, when I can, do this physically again, I can hit the road running and take it by storm and everything like that. Let me tell you, dude, that was. I'm glad I had that thought process at the time.
Right.
But my first month back was hard. Was hard mentally, physically, everything, man. But during that time, being in the wheelchair and everything, being at home, I actually still was running my business. I was subcontracting out basically everything, running it from the computer. I couldn't even see, job sites just because of the wheelchair and everything like
Right.
that. I didn't want to take me, stuff like that. But I was bidding work remote, talking to people remote, working with subcontractors and everything like that remote, literally having them come to my parents' house to meet them, to sign deals. And yeah, dude. So that was a very important time. You sit there and say that was delegating in and of itself. My first time feeling it and being forced into it. And at that time, I didn't realize how important it was, because I was more so just stuck on the vision, stuck on, I was just so heartbroken at the fact that I didn't think I was going to be able to operate equipment anymore. Because that's basically what had me doing, my business on the side for, 3 years and everything like that. And, taking it seriously, was the equipment side and what I really like fell in love with, and the efficiency. Um, and just like sitting in the hospital, I'm not gonna lie, dude, I cried for like the first like 3 days, man, kind of just, a woe is me type thing. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm not gonna be able to, have a business. I literally just bought a house. What do I do? Yeah, man, it was a lot. It was a lot for real. But being forced in it, having to make it work in my head, forced me to delegate, forced me to basically get things off of the ground. And then, like I said, having that period where I got back and that being a hard time, it's just accelerated now. Us being, this is my 5th year, dude. Officially my going on my 5th season, dude.
Let's go.
Being full time. Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly, man.
Love it, dude.
We balling, and coming full circle, it's been super important, working with you, working with some of my other subcontractors, whether actually in the field or in the back office, having people that you can rely on. I won't even sit there and say like a team, having a team is great. But actually breaking it down to a person and really realizing that that's something even more deep that I where I'm kind of at as far as facilitating tasks, but also networking. We've talked about it a couple of times, just like, we just feel this energy between us. Like, it's not even, yeah, it's a business owner energy, but also at the same time, it's just like, dude, I love seeing you grow. Likewise on your side and everything. I don't need any like advertisements or anything like that when it comes to you or anything like, referrals, he out there. Like, this is my boy, you know what I mean? So, wanting to just build with someone on side by side, both growing in your goals and your visions and, the outcome of your various different industries, like, man, it's super crucial. It's super passionate. It's super efficient because we're able to work just like Luke, on a smaller scale, small, tight knit unit. But we get it a lot of times. Yeah, you're bidding this. I know you guys are larger and everything. Well, how many people you think we got?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Like 20, 30. Nah. Under 10. Under 10. So, yeah, man, but super, super important. Super important. I would not be here literally without networking, delegating, trusting. That's a better way of putting it, trusting others, man.
Yeah, dude, that's like one of the biggest lessons I've learned. And, starting a digital marketing agency, and I'm not the web designer. I'm not the graphic designer, an SEO specialist. Like, I hardly even like doing that stuff. So it's like having people, to delegate, that people that love to do that stuff, that are really good at it, and that I'm giving them an opportunity as well, to make money and to have a job where they can work anywhere. But it's so much more than that, than just the transactional business. Like, I want to create the culture. Like, let's talk about our passions, work-life balance. Like, what do you like to do outside of work? I mean, this doesn't always have to be about work. So I think it's been really awesome. I give all the credit to our team we've built at Phaser, and just like what we're starting to do now in the dirt world. And then of course, like on the client side, without our clients, I mean, we wouldn't be anything. And it takes so much trust to just, give us the vision, give us honestly like access to what we have access to, and just to like work together for the future. So like delegating has been huge for me as well. And it's like, you're only one person, you can't do it all. And if you think you can, you're probably not going to accomplish the goals that you're meant to accomplish. So I'm glad that, we don't have it all figured out yet, but we're figuring it out together. So I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
When it comes to, and for people listening again, we've got Devin Burs on. He owns Dirt Devil Enterprises out in Maryland. Devin, give me like your three main services that your business offers. And if you could pick one service that you absolutely love to do the most, what is it?
Excavation, grading, concrete. I mean, excavation, grading. If you wanted to sit there and say they go together, you do that because people do it. So if not that, it would be excavation, concrete, landscape construction. Now the one. See, it's a toss up, dude. I love excavation so much, but as of recently, in the last like 2 years, getting into concrete, not just the work itself, but the projects and everything. I've really enjoyed that. Getting hands on as well, not just bidding the projects and the profitability side of standpoint. But I think I still would say like excavation and grading. There's just different, running a heavy equipment. Every project is basically different and requires a different thought process and way you may end up needing to tackle it going into it in order to essentially get the same result every single time, which is, customer satisfaction,
Right.
So I would pretty much sit there. I would have to stick with what brought me here, what brought me into the industry and everything. So excavation, yeah, digging holes.
Yeah, there you go, dude. I love it. And it's absolutely a craft. And I think I was thinking about this today. I bet consistency is huge in your world of just like, if you're not consistent, you're not going to make it very far. And you got to be consistent with your habits. You got to be consistent with the work you're putting out, even like the attitude you're bringing towards your customers. I think consistency probably plays a big role in your success.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and also, also the people surrounding you, consistency
Right.
as well. I mean, no one's gonna hustle if they don't see you hustling, dude.
Yeah, 100%. So what we like to do with our show here, Phaser Friday, is we always like to bring it back around because we get a lot of entrepreneurs listening, small business owners, and also people that are listening that someday they may want to start their own business, whether that's in the dirt world or not. So for this question, I want to keep it specific to starting an excavation company or starting a construction company.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, a little bit earlier, but what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's looking to get started in the industry? And what can you tell them, based off of your experiences?
Um. Honestly, number one, is definitely work for someone, or even if you're not gonna work for someone, be a mentee, dude. Be a sponge. That would probably have to be number one for me. Dude, I'm a street kid. I sit there and I've learned stuff by hand and using street tactics and everything like that. So mentorship, facing challenges, you know, diving in relentlessly. All of those things. I would sit there and say it's kind of like at the top. If you have those things at the top and you're kind of focusing on those key points, they're very simple, but that can get you a lot of running room. That can get you a lot of a head start on the runway, man. Like a lot of people just want to sit there and take off, like a rocket or whatever the case may be, instead of thinking of it more like a jet or whatever the case may be. Like, it takes momentum in order to take off. But at the same time, you got to understand you're not going to be able to take off on a dirt path or a dirt, airstrip, as well as, a nicely paved airstrip. So taking that analogy, that unpaved airstrip is basically you not having any mentorship, you just taking on the challenge. You know what I mean? Right. It's going to be way easier with that support up under you to make things, smoother for your transition and everything like that, man. So I like I said, definitely number one, I would have to say is just having some type of mentorship. That'll save you months, if not years, of progress and pains. Especially in the construction industry too. There's a lot of hard asses.
Yeah.
if,
Yeah.
if I could say that.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of those in construction, a lot of tough guys and everything. But at the same time, which I'm pretty sure you've recognized, we may technically all be tough, but like we all need each other in order to kind of, excel. And to get to a certain point. Like you can't just do it on your own. So yeah, if you're getting started, dude, definitely be ready to face some challenges, but be ready to, listen, man. Seek knowledge,
Right.
seek other, opinions, outside views. You don't have to necessarily listen to all of them. I mean, you don't necessarily have to implement all of them, but you definitely need to listen. You definitely need to shut up. Like that's a big thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just think that's spot on, and I appreciate you sharing that too. And you come from a place of you're not feeling like you know everything either, so it is even more genuine then of just like when you are starting out, and even when you're at where you are now, it's like soak up everything. You don't have to implement everything you hear, but at least take it in. Be a good listener. Um, Soak it all up. Being humble, I think, is huge, of just like not pretending like you know everything, and just keeping an open mind, being willing to pivot, innovate with your business. And sometimes how people have done it the last 100 years isn't always the best way. And I think really working on yourself and your core values of what you think is the right thing to do is a lot of times really the best way to go about it. So lastly, Devin, I really appreciate you being on the show. If people want to follow along with Dirt Devil, if they want to come into contact with you, kind of ask you entrepreneurship questions, what's the best way they can follow along with you or contact you?
I always say Instagram, dude. Instagram is our portfolio. So that's the most recent stuff to kind of like keep up with us. I've been slacking. We talked about that. I'm sorry. We're getting back on the horse as far as that's a standpoint, but yeah, I would sit there and say do that, or if you want to go to the website, reach out that way. You could do that. That's always fine. We could always talk. That's no problem at all, man. Yeah.
Awesome. And if you guys are listening on the podcast or on YouTube, you can head over to our website. It's phasermarketing.com and then /phaser-friday-home. You can see Devin's full episode and all the links to his social media and contact information. So Devin, with that, I can't thank you enough, man. I appreciate our business relationship, but more than that, our friendship and just what we've been going through together. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, the next week, the next month, and the next year with you, because I know we've got a lot of things in store. So once again, I appreciate you being on the show, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Appreciate the time, and yeah, man, dude.
All right, let's go.